Welcome to TV Box Stop, and this is the first Amlogic S905X4 TV Box for 2021. Today I bring to you the Mecool KM6 Classic, one of the most talked about TV box since the year began. This is the 2GB 16GB entry model and it's priced at $69.99. Whenever new hardware hits the market, expectations run high as there are lots of questions to be answered. First of all, does it have better performance than its previous hardware? Does it overheat? Does it support 64-bit ABIs? Does it have Vulkan support? And does it support Dolby True HD? If you are a serious TV box enthusiast, then these are the pertinent questions you want answered from a trusted source that's not afraid to say it as it is. You all know by now what to expect from this channel, so buckle your seatbelts as I dig into this latest device and let's see what the Mecool KM6 Classic has to offer. So don't go anywhere, you have that and more right after this. So I'm back, and in the box you have your usual TV box contents. You have the KM6 Classic TV box itself. You get a wireless voice remote with Google Assistant feature. You get one HDMI cable, a 5V 2A DC power adapter, and a user's manual. And now a look at its design and ports. The body is made of plastic with the Mecool logo printed to the top. To the rear of the box you have one HDMI 2.1 port, one RJ45 Ethernet LAN port, one AV port, and the DC power input. To the left side you have one USB 3.0 port, one USB 2.0, and a micro SD card reader. To the other side is blank. At the front you have a glowing LED power light and some cooling vents. And below the box you have 4 rubber feet and lots of ventilation holes. So I'll now set this up on my 4K TV and a capture card and continue. The operating system used on this box is Android TV OS, so it starts with a Mecool splash screen followed by the voice remote control pairing process, followed by your standard Android TV setup wizard. So here we are at the launcher, and it's a fully certified Google operating system with Google Assistant and built-in Chromecast feature. The operating system is Android 10Q, and this is the firmware build information. By now, it's no secret that a couple of years ago, Mecool ran into some difficulty with Netflix, so you won't find any Netflix ESN certification on their boxes. They do, however, have the permission to run all the other premium streaming services. Features of this firmware include 4K display up to 2160p at 60Hz, HDR display, HDMI CEC options, built-in screen rotation control, built-in Chromecast feature, Google Assistant feature, and digital surround sound audio options. There is no root switch, no HDR display switch, so it's always on. It also does not have any Dolby Vision settings. In the apps section, these are the apps that you can choose to install during the setup process. They have included an array of streaming apps and utility apps. So I will install the rest of apps needed to complete my review and continue. So I'm back, and the first critical piece of information would be what changes are there in its system and hardware information. ADA64 shows that they have hidden the mainboard information, which is very useful for creators of custom ROMs and for those who would like to use them. This is the classic model, and it comes with 2GB of LPDDR3 RAM and 16GB of internal storage. And for those who are new to this, please note that you will not see a total of 16GB in this bit of information here because the formatting and the Android installation occupies a percentage of that storage, and what is purported here is the remainder after the apps installed. The Bluetooth version according to the product description is 4.2, and I say this because I have no way of confirming which version it really is, well, at least not at this point. Its CPU, which is the all-new Amlogic S905X4, is a quad-core Cortex-A55 CPU clocked at 2.0 GHz, configured in 32-bit mode with support for only 32-bit ABIs. I know lots of viewers right now are shaking their heads as they would have liked to see the inclusion of 64-bit ABIs with this all-time high CPU clock speed. Its display quality and graphics rendering is produced by the Mali G31 integrated GPU, and it shows that on this TV it has a maximum refresh rate of 60Hz with support for OpenGL ES version 3.2, which is excellent for 3D gaming. On the network, it shows that the 5 GHz band is supported, which indicates that you have dual band Wi-Fi support. On the Android, it shows that the Android version is Android 10Q, and just below here, it shows that the box is not rooted. Under Devices, it shows that it has Vulkan support. Under Temperature, I'm a bit disappointed because they have chosen to disable the temperature sensor, and this bars you from monitoring the box's heat levels, as well as prevents you from using any alternative apps to give you a reading. Under Codecs, you have an unusually long list of decoders for the playback of 4K HDR videos and digital surround sound audio formats. And in this list, I can identify the DTS HD decoder, but I could not identify the Dolby decoders. This doesn't mean there isn't any. I will confirm its digital audio outputs later in the video. And that's a close look at its system and hardware information, and I now move on to its performance benchmarks. First, the results of its RAM copy speed and its internal storage read and write speed tests. The KM6 has a RAM copy speed of 3278 MB per second. Its internal storage has a read speed of 71 MB per second and a write speed of 24. Remember, this is the classic model, so don't expect outstanding results on just 2 GB of RAM and 16 GB of internal storage. In the Wi-Fi bands and Ethernet LAN speed test, the results show that you have maximum bandwidth on the 5 GHz band. The 2.4 GHz band underperformed, achieving just 26%, and the LAN port achieved 73%, which is still pretty okay given that the LAN port is a 100 megabits per second LAN port. Next, I have the results of the Antutu benchmark, the score that I use to rank TV boxes on my chart. And in this test, the KM6 got a score of 85,561. Seeing that this is the first Amlogic S905X4 model, I can't compare it as yet to similar models running the same CPU, but it does score similar to high-end S905X3 models. In the Geekbench 4 CPU benchmark, the Amlogic S905X4 got a score of 848 single-core and 2,461 multi-core. This appears to be a good score, and we shall see how it compares on the rankings chart. In the 3DMark Gamers Bench GPU benchmark, it shows that the KM6 does indeed have Vulkan support, so it qualified for the iStorm Extreme test, the Slingshot test, and the iStorm Extreme test. The results show that it got a score of 6,009 in the iStorm Extreme test, 580 in the Slingshot test, and 371 in the Slingshot Extreme test. These are some good scores, not to mention it has Vulkan support, so it should perform really well in some 3D gaming. And that's the end of the benchmarks. I will now enter the scores on my rankings chart and let's see how it places. So the scores are in, and the Mecool KM6 Classic defeated every Amlogic S905X3 TV box in reference to Antutu benchmark scores, taking position 15 on this all-time rankings chart. I will decide later when I review the KM6 Deluxe model on whether to include them on my new Editor's Choice chart. You can view this all-time rankings chart along with my new Editor's Choice chart for 2021 on my website in full spreadsheet format where you can interact with it and compare various benchmarks. I also provide price comparison links. Links to these charts can be found in the description directly below this video. Moving on to its streaming features. But before I get to that, let's look at its root access and its DRM information. The Root Checker app shows that the box is not rooted, running on Android 10 operating system. Its DRM information shows that it has Google Widevine Level 1 with HDCP 2.2 protection. Its root access and DRM status, along with Google's certification, qualifies this box to play premium streaming services in HD and 4K quality. However, this will not apply to Netflix because, as I indicated earlier in the video, the difficulty Mecool has with Netflix ESN certification. For premium streaming services, currently I only have a premium 4K Netflix account and Amazon Prime Video. You cannot install Netflix directly from the Play Store, so you have to sideload it using an APK download or using an APK App Store. Netflix will work on this box, but it will be limited to basic quality, and here's a quick video sample. It's very watchable, but it's not in HD or 4K. However, this does not apply to Amazon Prime Video. The KM6 is Google certified and has the digital rights to play movies in HD and 4K quality. And this also applies to other services such as Sling TV, Disney Plus and HBO Max. Here's a 4K video sample. When it comes to YouTube, I will usually say the Android TV version, but this is Android TV, so it's officially part of its operating system geared towards television displays. So by default, YouTube can play up to 4K 2160p and in HDR display if the box supports it. One of the trademark features of a certified version of Android TV OS is its Google Assistant feature. This box comes with a wireless Bluetooth voice remote with Google Assistant feature. It also has designated buttons for YouTube, Prime Video and the Google Play Store. I will now test its Google Assistant feature. Increase volume.
It's at the highest volume.
Open Prime Video.
Sure, launching Prime Video on KM6.
What's the fastest car in the world?
SSC Tuatara. Here's a summary from Auto Express. The SSC Tuatara is currently the world's fastest production car. The record run broke the previous mark of.
Who is the President of the United States?
The President of the United States of America is Joe Biden.
Another trademark feature of a certified version of Android TV OS is its Chromecast feature. Using a Miracast app on my cell phone, I can mirror my phone to the box. Also, any other app or premium streaming service that has built-in Chromecast, you can also cast those officially. For those who would like to use alternative launchers, there are lots of alternative launchers on the Android TV Play Store. However, none of them are mouse pointer friendly, so they are designed to work only with the stock remote. But did you know you can sideload the ADW Launcher 2 on Android TV and it works with features such as long click menu pop-ups and drag and drop shortcuts? The only downside is that you cannot change the wallpaper. This is Android TV OS, so you don't get screen rotation to portrait mode, even though there's an option in the settings area. This settings only works for certain apps. I will now play my list of 4K videos in HDR format using the VLC player with hardware acceleration set to full in the settings area.
Only a win for Barca would be enough because it would give them the same number of points as Atletico, but the head-to-head goal difference is what counts in the case of a
So my list of 4K HDR videos played perfectly. If during the playback or during this entire video, you notice the color seemed a bit saturated or the brightness and contrast seem a bit blown out at times, this is due to the HDR feature on the box being on by default without an option to turn it off. So I usually have a hard time adjusting the colors on my capture card in this situation. If I connect the box directly to my TV, which has HDR display, you will get one of the most outstanding picture quality among TV boxes. So take note of that and don't feel that it's a defect of the box. I will now test for digital surround sound audio output, and I'll be playing my list of videos consisting of Dolby Atmos, TTSX, HD Master Audio, Dolby Surround, THX, and Dolby True HD formats. And I'm hoping that once and for all we can get past the Dolby True HD issue.
This is is Dolby Atmos, the world's first object-based cinematic audio. With powerful moving audio that transcends from channels to moving around you.
Juries, executioners, judges.
Welcome to the inside of your head.
So from this test, it proves that the Mecool KM6 Classic has Dolby Atmos, DTS:X, HD Master Audio, Dolby Surround and THX audio output formats, but unfortunately, they still haven't solved the issue of Dolby True HD. For my final test, I will connect my gamepad via Bluetooth and play some Android games that usually cannot play on boxes without Vulkan support. I can't check for overheating, but I will check to see if Keymapping apps work on this box. If the box succeeds at playing these games, then it would be a great achievement and a step in the right direction. So all the games I threw at it managed to play, some smoother than others. There was one game that I usually play on S905X4 boxes, which is Shadowgun Legends. This game I would usually have to play on low graphic settings. Surprisingly, I was able to play it on maximum graphic settings, so that's a major improvement. Also, for those interested in gamepad keymapping, the only keymapping app I discovered that works on a box that's not rooted is the Octopus keymapping app. All the others failed because they require root access. In summary, the Mecool KM6 Classic and the all-new Amlogic S905X4 CPU did not disappoint in hardware performance, but the box fell short in some firmware features. Firstly, the new CPU clock speed of 2.0 GHz made a lot of difference in its performance and resulted in some really high benchmarks compared to the S905X3 models, defeating all of them on my chart. And keep in mind, this is the classic model. Mecool did a good job with the operating system, delivering a fully Google certified TV box that can play premium streaming services in HD and 4K quality. The only disappointment is that they still haven't ironed out their issues with Netflix, and I don't know if they ever will, but they are one of the few developers who are consistent when it comes to delivering fully Google certified TV boxes. The inclusion of Vulkan support really improved the gameplay and 4K video playback,